Go time.
Good evening. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I'd like to call the regular meeting for the Board of Selectmen to order.
Troy Lanier.
Paul Marino.
Paul Harrington.
Todd Archelashi.
Glenn Albanesius.
William Hester.
Candy Perez.
William Pozo.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 3, agenda review. We have one correction on the agenda under number 4. The minutes of the meeting on October 20th was a regular meeting, not a special meeting, so we're going to make that correction. Anyone have anything else? Moving on to item 4, approval of minutes of the regular meeting on October 20th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, corrections, additions?
Just note the minutes actually say regular meeting and not special meeting, and it was only the agenda that was incorrect.
Noted. No further discussion. All in favor? Unanimous. Moving on to item number 5, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes since we have a full room. If anyone wishes to speak, please try to keep that in mind. Who wishes to speak, if anyone? Jack, come on up.
Well, I have a comment from Mary Ann Marino.
Jack, can you do me a favor, because the audience at home, just unmute hit the red microphone button, and this way anyone viewing at home.
All right, this relates to Candy.
You gotta hit the button.
You gotta hit the button, Jack.
Got it?
All right.
The little microphones there. Nope.
Nope, just one of the red
On the
ones.
side.
The red one blinking. Nope, right on the side.
There you go.
There you go. Now you're good. Now we're
All
clear.
right, okay. Just a short statement from Mary Ann Marino. She would like to have been here tonight. Good evening, Mayor Todd and Board of Selectmen. Each of you is a volunteer donating your time on behalf of the community of Winchester and Winstead, so each of you knows what it means to set aside precious resource of personal time for something you believe in. It's time that could be spent with your family, of growing your business. It's time you could have spent with your favorite hobby, or to read a book, or maybe just to have a little rest and put your feet up. So I'm sure all of you can quantify the amount of hours that 22 years of active volunteerism adds up to. It's a lot, and that's what Candy Perez has given to the community. A whole lot. Candy, thank you. In the past few years, I've had the opportunity to work as a volunteer alongside you, and it's been an honor to get to know you and to witness your leadership at close range. In this time, I learned that your father was an example of land stewardship and social good works for you when you were a little girl. Lucky you for that example. But you didn't have to follow his lead. You could have easily gone another way. You could have but you chose to take the baton he passed your way, and based upon your own values, your value of community, your value of nature, your value of education and athletics, youth mentorship, your value of family and recreation, and of positive civic engagement. As with everyone who chooses to be in the public eye, you've taken your share of criticism for those who maybe failed to appreciate your value. You have faced them with resilience, with conviction, and above all, with grace. That grace is the mark of a true leader. If every neighbor, every student, local business owner, retiree whose life was improved because of your effort and care, if every fish, every bald eagle, every fox, coyote, every stream, and every lake, and every river you have helped thrive could thank you right now, we'd be hearing a symphony of gratitude and an endless crescendo resonating into every corner of this town. Your father, wherever he may be, would be conducting that symphony. I'm sure he's smiling on you right now. Thank you, Candy. And always remember, You have friends everywhere.
Who else would like to speak?
Hello, board members. My name is Ellen Babcock, 554 West Wakefield Boulevard. And so, hello to all of you, fellow citizens. I've been given this to share with all of you. This is a certificate of special congressional recognition, which I am privileged to present to Althea Candy Perez.
Alan, can you go a little closer to the mic, please? You can't hear.
Let's see, is this the mic?
No, it's the circle thing. If you want to, can you, do, well, Stan, it'll pick you up better if you, actually, if you want, come in front of the table, and that mic's gonna be
There you go.
That's
Nope,
okay.
keep coming.
Listen, I don't want to turn my back on you.
I'll keep you safe, I
That's
promise.
so inappropriate.
It doesn't move.
It doesn't
You're the
Well,
one that's gonna move.
we already have a problem here. Can you hear me now? Sorry for my back.
That's fine.
Okay. So this is the certificate of special recognition, special congressional recognition presented to King. In recognition of her 22-year legacy of government leadership and dedicated service to the Winstead community, congratulations on your retirement. And we hope that you will be a face that we see often here in the halls of the town hall and in the community, that this is not the end, this is a new beginning. So, thank you.
Next.
I'll grab the seal. This thing. Good evening, Michael Farrell, 147 Shore Drive. I have to start off addressing you, Candy. Bunch of tough acts to follow here, but as somebody who has served 46 years as a volunteer fireman, 15 plus years as a sewer and water commissioner in various towns, my family knows quite well the sacrifice that is public service. So on behalf of the Farrell family, I would just like to say thank you. And this comes, I'm a lifelong independent. This does not come from a place of politics. I'm purple. Give me a little bit of red, give me a little bit of blue, let's meet at common sense. So this comes from the heart. Thank you very much. And I wish you the very best of health, and prosperity, and peace. Please, peace for you. Ladies and gentlemen, my second issue tonight is many, many months ago, I had the pleasure to meet with the town manager, and I spoke to him about the use of the NIPPER funds, which I see we do pretty well with in the newspaper. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad editorial in our community, but we got the money. So I think, I see that it's on the agenda. I think that a really fitting purpose for this money would be to look into a MADVAC. I'm sure some of you have heard of that, but for lack of better terms, a MADVAC is just a Mac Daddy golf cart with a fiberglass body and an elephant tube that comes over the top, and it's got a remote control vacuum hose. And in my 25 years in the Waterbury Fire Department, I watched their Parks and Rec division run 2 of these things all around downtown. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I think that I talked to the people down in Waterbury, they're about 75 grand to buy, not lease. I think that would be the perfect use of our NIPPER funds. Oddly enough, even though I picked up 2 big bags of trash and a bicycle at town beaches this morning, I don't think we have a big litter problem here, which is awesome. That in and of itself is a great editorial on our people that live in this town. But it never hurts, because if we're gonna want to bring in people to start businesses and send their kids to our schools and whatnot, the very first optic they need to see are clean streets. So this would be a great step towards cleaning up the streets and maintaining them as clean. And I suggest that you consider further funding going forward in these years to maybe fund over time if it is necessary, to have DPW folks run this machine, because I know those guys and gals in Public Works are stretched thin as it is. But if we could use that money towards funding hours in the seat for that thing, I think the entire community would really benefit from that. That's all I got. Thank you very much for your service. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Who else wishes to speak? Anyone? Mr. Sedlak?
Good evening, Steve Sedlak, 103 Indian Meadow Drive. Nice to be back at a selectmen's meeting. Candy, we served together for 10 years. Every time we had a meeting, I learned something more from you. What a great mentor. When I first came on the board, times weren't too bad. The grand list was in good shape, and I thought as a new selectman, this would be a great time to put forward some great project suggestions that would cost a lot of money. What I found out from Candy was that, no, that's not the way we do budgeting. We start by looking at what the impact of our budget's going to be on taxpayers. And that's always the way you let off our budget discussions, and always keeping the taxpayer in mind first of all. I wasn't too long a selectman when I realized, oh my gosh, we have a conservative fiscal Democrat among us. You were fiscally conservative, but it was always in the best interest of the town. And I enjoyed learning from you and working with you for the betterment of this community. And I wish you good luck and Godspeed.
Good evening. My name is Kara Muth. It would be remiss of me if I didn't get up here this evening and say a few words. It actually makes me sad because this is how much you mean to me, Candy. You're making me cry. So, I'm not from Winston, but I was born and raised in Torrington, Connecticut, and I was born in that town. And Candy was a huge influence on me as a child, as a youth, in sports, as a woman, and even through my adulthood. I ran the United Way Women's Leadership Initiative for many years. And Candy showed up to my committee meetings. She was my biggest advocate. You were my biggest supporter. I got a message literally last night, mind you, not that it matters, we're all busy. I don't deny that. But I work in corporate America, I have 2 kids, I don't really have time to volunteer like I used to, and I terribly miss it. But I got a message from Deirdre saying, Kara, Candy's getting an award. I said, okay, I will be there. Hell or high water, I'm gonna be at that meeting. And I'm here tonight, Candy, because I want you to know how much you impact people in this community, especially me. And on behalf of Emily Marchand, Mags, Lisa, Kathy Coyle, you are a tremendous example of leadership, and I admire you, and I thank you for all that you did in the community for youth, people like me. It's the least I could do to show you my kindness and gratitude. I love you, Candy. You've done a lot. I wish you nothing but the best in your years, and please stay in touch. Thank you. You got it.
Who else? Mr. Bishop, come on up.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bishop, and I wanted to express my appreciation for Candy by reading some of her own words, some words that I found that she wrote in 2021 that really shows her character and her service. And it was at a time when not only was she the leader of the Democratic Town Committee, but also, you know, a selectman, wearing many hats, doing many things around town. And in this post, she was looking for people to serve, and this really shows who she is. In Candy's words, in 2000, I answered an ad in the local paper asking for interested people to run for the Board of Selectmen or Board of Education, and to contact the Democratic Town Committee. I went to my first meeting to learn about the process, and the rest is history, as they say. But did you know I did not win my first time? Did you know that every time I try for another term, I worry? Yes, all the comments over time have bothered me, since my only goal has been to make the best decisions for the community. Someone once said to me, what are they gonna do, take away your birthday? So I kept going. And you can too. And this is when she's looking for those new people to run. She wrote, we need good, dedicated people to help the board's functioning going forward. Our government and elections are set up based on state statute and our town charter, but our work is local. Our town committee would like to talk with interested people, no matter the letter of a political affiliation after your name. As one smart select person once said, W is the most important letter. So if you would like to explore serving the community as elected or appointed official, contact me. I can share the rewards of serving and how the rewards are better than some of the scary things that sometimes keep people from serving. For 250 years of our history, we have had great people serve. You can be one of them. I think this really shows how warm and welcoming Candy is to everybody, regardless of political affiliation. And of course, I am running for Board of Selectmen in tomorrow's election, and I hope to continue the legacy of being welcoming and respectful and of everybody in our community. As I say, we're all neighbors in a small town, and that's what matters most. And thank you so much, Candy. Thank you for all of your help to me personally, and thank you for all you've done for our town.
Anyone else?
Bill Hudon, 232 Granville Road. First of all, thank you to all the selectmen for your service. And thank you especially to Linda Grappo and to Candy Perez, who are coming off of the board at this point in time. I recognize we're here to honor 22 years of service for Candy, so I'll direct my remarks there. But I think Linda's service also should be heralded. She's done wonderful things for the town of many years. Those of you who have dealt with Candy in any way recognize she's one of the smartest people in the room, any room. She's also probably the hardest working person. And she's chosen to take that hard work and focus it on making our community better. You may not agree with her on everything. I would imagine that none of us do. But the point is that she always had the community's interests in mind first and foremost. She would agree, but she would never be disagreeable. I think we all could learn something from the leadership, from the style, from the just personal goodness that Candy has brought to public service. So I thank you for that.
Anyone else?
Anne Marie Rowe, I'm the finance director, and I'm going to try not to get upset, but I want to speak on behalf of the employees. I know Chief Susie's here, Mr. Rollins is in the back, Terry Hall is here, Glenn. I can say that I appreciate everything that you've done for the town. I've been here for almost 4 years, and you, as many people have said, are an amazing wealth of knowledge. You've seen the town through a very dark period. You've seen the town come out of that dark period and moving forward and moving in a fantastic direction. I appreciate all the time and energy that you've spent, particularly in the finance area, to understand everything. It's very difficult to explain finances to people who don't understand them, and I don't ever have to do that with you. And you amaze me with your wealth of knowledge. I admire you. I admire your tenacity. Sometimes it's not easy, right? And sometimes it's really not easy to be a woman in this venue, in a man's world. And it is a man's world. But I appreciate all of your service on the Board of Selectmen. And I believe that every selectman here should be very appreciative of what you've done over the last 2 years particularly to educate everyone on this board. When the board flipped to a brand-new board, that's a huge task. And you are the only one, for the most part, that had the institutional knowledge to educate everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate you as a woman executive. Thank you.
Anyone else? Moving on to item number 6, town manager's report.
Man, that's gonna be tough to follow, but we're gonna try. Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Board. This report's from October 20th through November 3rd. To start, the fiscal year 27 budget development. Work on the fiscal year is already progressing steadily. Department heads are now reviewing their capital improvement plans. Detailed sheets. These sheets are essentials for updating the scope and timeline of each of the projects, ensuring planning is thorough and up to date. Updated sheets are due back to the finance department in the coming weeks. Once we close out this phase, department leaders will turn their attention to preparing operating budgets. Request for the upcoming fiscal year. This approach should keep us on schedule for a comprehensive, balanced budget proposal. Town Hall Electronic Messaging Board. A new electronic messaging board is coming to Town Hall. If you haven't realized, I have a thing for TVs, so we're going to be adding another TV in the lobby. This is going to be an informational TV. The good news with this is that there's no more waiting for printed materials to reach the public. Updates will be immediate and easy to use. The entire project is being paid for by a grant from the Connecticut Secretary of State, allowing us to modernize our town hall for communications without tapping into any type of taxpayer or local funds. So look for that TV coming soon. We were able to grab some state money and we're able to further our communication with our residents. I think it's important to note the federal government shutdown fiscal impact. The ongoing federal government shutdown has so far had little direct effect on the town's operating budget, since we typically don't rely on federal aid to support our routine operation. That said, reimbursements of federal grant-funded projects are paused for the duration of the shutdown, and no new agreements will be signed until until it reopens. We can start signing agreements again. State of Connecticut funding remains unaffected and continues to be processed as usual. We had some foresight in the finance department. Most of our outstanding federal reimbursements were processed earlier this summer, so we're currently not missing any significant payments, which is great news. So we kind of project what's happening, we talk about it, and fortunately we're in a pretty good stance right now that we're not waiting for a big tranche of money coming from the federal government. On a different note, the Eversource project update. Work with Eversource is nearing completion and should be wrapped up within the next 2 weeks, assuming that there are no expected or unexpected delays. After some very productive conversations between this town, state officials, and Eversource, we are happy to share that Main Street will be repaved gutter to gutter, fully restoring its appearance and function. This is a significant win for the community and a great example of partnerships when we all sit down. I know there was talks many times in these meetings of, are they going to repave gutter to gutter? Are they just going to do typically what they're supposed to do? They are going to go gutter to gutter. It was really productive meetings and it's been good. Before we begin tonight's, or at least my portion of tonight's recognition, I want to take a moment and I want to thank someone who stepped up once again when the town needed her. That's Linda Grombo. I think it's fair to say that Linda thought she was done being on the Board of Selectmen a couple of years ago. She wrapped up her time, took a well-deserved break, and probably thought these late-night meetings and thick board packets were behind her for good. Sorry, Linda, we do keep you here late. But it turns out her work here wasn't quite done. When Selectman Sedlock resigned his post, Linda didn't hesitate. She came right back, ready to serve, ready to help, and ready to steady the ship. That says everything you need to know about her. When the town called her, she answered. Linda, on behalf of the town, the entire Board of Selectmen, thank you for once again lending your time, your perspective, your heart to this community. We are grateful for your continued commitment, and we hope this time you really are done and enjoy those nights out. I'm not done. Tonight, we also mark another moment of transition, one that carries a lot of emotion and gratitude. After 22 years of dedicated service, Candy Perez will be stepping away from the Board of Selectmen. That's more than 2 decades of leadership, commitment, heart poured into this community. After 22 years on the Board of Selectmen, Candy is stepping away from public office. While that's hard for many of us to imagine, it gives us the opportunity to reflect on just how much she's done and how deeply she shaped the community we're all proud to call home. From the start, Candy did not just step into leadership, she defined it. Her philosophy was simple: lead, follow, or get out of the way. And if you ever worked with Candy, you know exactly which one she was. She was the get out of the way person. Not out of impatience, but out of drive. She believed that if you saw a problem, you fixed it. If you saw an opportunity, you seized it. And if you believed in something, you gave it everything you had. Over the years, Candy helped lead Winchester through some of the most defining moments, from financial challenges to revitalization efforts, from infrastructure projects to community renewal. She was the steady hand in tough times, the voice of reason in hard conversations, and the champion behind so many of the successes we take for granted. But what stands out most about Candy isn't just her list of accomplishments, it's how she went about them. She led with conviction, compassion, and courage. She never hesitated to ask the tough questions or push for better. I'm, for one, can definitely say that she does that to me. She wasn't afraid to disagree when she believed it mattered, but she always did it with respect and an eye towards the bigger picture, the good of the town. Candy believed in teamwork. She believed in collaboration, but she also believed in accountability and making sure the words turned into action. She demanded results because she cared too much about this town to let things sit idle. And beyond the policies and the projects, there's this personal side of Candy, the one who took the time to listen, to mentor, to encourage, the one who stood up for people when they needed a voice, the one who reminded us that leadership is not about the title, it's about the impact you make and the example you set. Her fingerprints are all over Winchester, from Main Street to our neighborhoods, and of course Highland Lake, and even the culture of how we do business here. Her belief is in transparency, her commitment to progress, and her deep respect for public service has set a standard that will guide us long after her time on the board. Candy, you gave 22 years to the community, and it shows in every corner of this town. You made Winchester stronger, more resilient, and more hopeful for the future. On behalf of the town staff, the entire community, I want to thank you, not just for what you did, but how you did it, with heart, with passion, and with purpose. As you move on to the next chapter, I hope you take pride in knowing that the work here will continue to grow. You laid a foundation that others can build upon. You inspired many of us to lead with the same energy and integrity you have shown for more than 2 decades. So tonight, we don't just say goodbye to a selectman, we say thank you to a true leader, a mentor, and a friend. Candy, congratulations on an incredible 22 years of service. We are grateful, we are proud. We will do our best to honor the example you set, even if it means hearing the little voice in the back of our head saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way. Thank you, Candy.
So, for 22 years, you've sat at this table. Let's look at 22 years. It's 8,037 days. 264 months. 694,310,400 seconds, and it probably felt like each and every one of those seconds. We have not always agreed politically, but the knowledge that you have given me and the guidance since I became mayor in 2021 and on the board. Before that, I can never adequately put into words to share the gratitude for you that I have. One thing that I do know is that you have a love for Highland Lake and a love for this town. And someday, either this building or the next one, your name will adorn the door of one of the meeting rooms in this building. So the plaque that we have for you is in grateful recognition for your distinguished service, Candy Perez. Your commitment, leadership, and tireless efforts have left a lasting impact on our community. Through your years of service, you have guided Winchester with vision, integrity, and heart. With sincere appreciation for 22 years of dedicated leadership and commitment as a member of the Winchester Board of Selectmen, it is with the deepest appreciation from the town of Winchester. 11/3/2025.
So Candy, I think Anne Marie said it best, what you mean to the staff around here. So I had our Public Works Director go out, get a Perez Way sign, and then each one of our staff members signed it. If you don't want to look at what they said, you can, we left you a clear side too. So you can have it either way, but congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
I don't know if I can say very much to see you all here. And those of you that know me know I don't cry much, right? But I've been crying ever since I walked in this door. And while there's a lot to say and a lot to do, I just want to really express my gratitude for each and every one of you that I've known from different places, either through this town or people that came tonight. There'll be time for us to talk more about this, but I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Meeting will be in recess for 5 minutes.
Mike's, if you want to take a mic off.
Yeah.
Can we start to make our way back to the table?
Ready?
We are back from recess. Any questions for the town manager on the town manager's report?
You better have one. Come on, Candy.
I have a microphone. I should probably ask him a question. What should I ask him?
Do you don't have a mic over there?
Yeah, no, we
No,
got
it's
it.
on.
We got it now.
We turned it on.
I don't think I have a question for you, Tim.
I just had a question.
Sure.
How many grants, federal grants, do you have a number of federal grants that were?
That are still out there,
Yeah,
outstanding? Can you give me tomorrow? I'll email it out. I don't want to give you a number off the top of my head, but you know, you have the water project.
That's what I was gonna ask, I was wondering.
Still,
Fortunately, and we, as I alluded to, we kind of predicted there was gonna be some uncertainty going out, and when I stated that we did a really, can we do one favor, and I apologize, can we just open one door? Open meeting laws require that one door be open. All the way, yeah. I got called out many years ago, and it's been a lesson that's been ingrained in my head forever, that if you're in an open meeting, at least one door needs to be remained open. So, we thought something was coming, so we're in really, really good shape in terms of reimbursements to the town. Now, there are the federal direct spend dollars, Sue Grossman Trail, you know, the DPW, the fire station. Fortunately, we have not spent any of those dollars to get reimbursed. But let me get you an exact count of
Just curious.
potentially is out
Okay,
there. Yep,
thank you, that's it.
easy.
Any other questions? Item number 7, correspondence. Anything? Item 8, boards and commissions.
Nothing.
Item 9, we have no unfinished business. Item 10, new business. Discussion on the use of NIPR and opioid funds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I wanted to have a brief conversation and wanted to pick the board's brain of where we should be looking. You saw public input come in of a potential use of NIPR money. Currently, right now, in the municipal NIP environment revenue account, it's roughly about $113,000 sitting in that account. I believe we are due another check soon that was just written about in the paper for roughly $16,000. So roughly about, let's call it $120,000 in the NIPR fund. I know I brought this up a few months ago. We talked about potentially, overtime from DPW. Does the board, you go through accounts and I see, this account and I see the opioid settlement account. And does the board have any ideas that it wants me to start focusing on?
Can you remind us on what the limitations are with the NIPR funds?
So the NIPR funds is to in essence, in a broad stroke, clean up your community. And whatever, the VAC is an idea. Hiring people is another idea. Educational material to teach people how to recycle. All things that they hope more, litter doesn't end on the ground, but ends up in the proper disposal area, whether it be recycling or plain refuge, are really where it's tended to go. It's just a way of cleaning up your community.
So is it just for trash, or can it be used for example, the riverfront cleanup that we've been talking about on Main Street? Does that qualify for it?
Yes, it does qualify. In fact, we looked even further. If there was a civic group that, wanted to do a cleanup, we could actually buy, and it was a volunteer group, which is even great. We could end up buying them pizza. We could buy them the bags. We could buy them the pickers. We could do all of that stuff to clean it up. As far as, and I think I might know where you're going, cleaning a brush, that would not be permitted, because obviously, brush isn't caused by littering, but
so it's the cleanup of litter. It's not really, as to your point, trimming,
correct,
brush, cleaning, getting rid of overgrowth, that sort of thing.
Correct. I think we'd run afoul with that.
So it would be nice to see, like the gentleman brought up, some kind of, because I've used one in Torrington also, and we have a machine that could possibly do something like that at Norfolk, to, clean up the sidewalks. I mean, during the summer, there's dog waste, there's garbage, in the gutters. I mean, not a lot, and like he said, I think we're doing pretty good as a community, is not litter as much. But the sand from the winter, chunks of tar. You walk down a sidewalk, there's always that stuff. There, people throw, bottles, nips, and whatever. But I mean, something like a vacuum, something that can wash and clean up, that I would be all for. I think that's a good investment.
Okay. I can bring back different proposals. Any other? Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I'm doing your job.
Nope. Other question?
No, it's not a question, it's,
Or other suggestions?
I think it would, it's always been something that a long time ago with Public Works, we talked about buying, when they bought that snow blower for the sidewalk, we talked about it having a brush on it, and then we dreamt that a man that used to come to all our meetings and stuff, Mr. Forrester, would drive it up and down Main Street every day and clean our sidewalks and clean things up like that. And it's also a program I worked with a long time ago, the job training for young people, where I was a supervisor and I was overseeing like 6 or 8 young people, and they got paid, and that was my summer job, and they worked at the Oliver Wolcott, and so there used to be a job training program in the summer for young people, especially here. It would work really, it could work well. It doesn't have to be limited to young people, but where people are looking for jobs to do, we could administer it, not wouldn't be that hard to administer it, or provide a grant from that fund to another group that's already administrating or can administrate programs like that, already have a payroll system intact on that. And so I think if you took all the groups of money that you had, and then you could have those, it could be a summer thing where they coordinate a lot of cleanup because it's easier because there's no snow on the ground. And I think to institute for that, I think as the money comes in, things like maybe it could be somebody, one of their days, they go to the Sue Grossman Trail and clean it up, and maybe one day they go around the park and clean it up, and, there could be different locations in town, not Park Pond, Tetros Pond, where, they spend a day there or half a day in different places. And I think you can create a program like that, I don't think it'd be that difficult to do.
I agree with Candy on that, because the $130,000 go a long way in that department.
I mean, yeah, and if you gave it a grant to somebody that was helping people that, needed a little work experience or work positions, I mean, I think, it creates, instead of, not that overtime's not important to people, but for that kind of money, you could hire a part-time person, for 4 years, for like almost every day, like we do with the recreation department. And that person, could go in different places. Or you could just have, the Boy Scouts are always looking for, grant money, and, the Girl Scout programs, anybody probably, the Elks have youth service programs. So you could do something like that. I mean, because it's restricted, it's not something that would be, that you could take it and create something else with it.
I think it's important to note where the account balance, $125,000. It's every quarter we're roughly getting, anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. So when you look at it, my head got excited because you talk about potential part-time employment, and I know you said 4 years. Well, you look at it, you could fund it even further because, like the opioid money continues to come in. So and maybe I probably should have said it better, that although there's 120, that account's gonna keep growing. And when something has, $100,000 balance in it, I get a little itchy and say, okay, we gotta do something with it because it grows and it grows and it grows. And, let's reinvest this money into the community. But I don't obviously cut off dialogue, but.
So, if we're getting that much a quarter, maybe it's something we could look into, a vac truck, a brush for the sidewalk, and start a grant program like that. I mean, if it's gonna continue, I don't see them cutting that anytime soon. So.
Well, the state has talked several times about banning the nipper bottles, which will eventually affect these.
But isn't that each town gets to choose if they want to ban them or not?
I think that's already, I
thought it was a state.
No, I thought they pushed it already, that you have, up to the municipalities can
Yeah,
actually.
up to the municipality, individual
We're not
municipality.
gonna give it up making that kind of money.
One of the things that we talked about, cleaning up the beaches, maybe we can look at some of those different types of waste receptacles for the beaches, as well as Sue Grossman Trail.
I apologize. My wife had surgery today. My phone was just absolutely blowing up. So let me just do one quick
wanna
thing.
recess?
Can I recess for 2
You need us to recess?
Yeah, I apologize.
Meeting is in recess.
Thank you. I apologize. I'm sorry. It was nonstop. Let me just make sure everything's good at home.
we're back from recess.
I apologize. Thank you. Basal cell carcinoid is no joke. She had it removed today. 2 young kids at home, and anyways, so we're back. Vac truck, part-time program, grant programs,
Beach, and Sue Grossman Trail.
Sue Grossman Trail cleanup. Obviously, I mean, if we get the vac truck, you know, obviously you do Main Street, you know, one day, you obviously can hit Sue Grossman Trail another day. I mean, you can move this thing around.
I think you get a lot of roads. I believe the one you're talking about, it actually will go down and vacuum the edges of the sidewalk right on the road
yeah.
where
It'll do the
everything,
curbs
where everything
too. Yeah,
collects
yeah,
and
yeah.
does the curbs, yeah, so.
I'll drive
Something
it.
to look into. I'll drive there, you see?
I'll just-
She's
I'll
not
just
giving up.
offer this, if you speak to the other municipalities, many of them have transitioned to the automated one because there was a lot of workers' comp claims with the manual one. We don't need to open that.
Yeah, no,
So spend the extra 12, 15 grand, get the automated one, keep workers' comp claims off the books.
The one I want to look for, believe it or not, and I don't know if they make it, but I've had the chance to see one of those AI machines
The
paint a
giant
field.
Roombas?
They line like ball fields, and it's crazy. So I wonder if they make an AI one where you give it the road and it does it itself.
So
I
literally-
just took the job away from Candy, but
Literally a
imagine if
giant-
they-
Oh, well.
I'll find something else. Don't worry.
It'll get stuck somewhere and need to be saved.
Traffic in wait 2 years, right?
It needs to be saved somewhere.
It'll get stuck
Okay.
on Main Street.
Batteries die.
And then we can still talk, and then I did want to talk about the opioid settlement fund, which continues to, you know, take in money on a quarterly basis as well. We did get a proposal from the Winstead Cares, it's a proposal, Winstead Cares Coordinator. It's by Greenwood Counseling. And really, what they're looking to do is fund an employee roughly 2 days a week that deals with just our Winstead residents. In that, you know, I don't want to say the individual's name, but an individual that is here on Friday mornings for 2 hours, wants to come here more on a, I don't want to say full-time because it's still a part-time basis, but dedicate 16 hours a week to just the town of Winstead to deal with anybody that may, you know, have a recovering issue, a homeless issue, a food issue, anything at all where our most needy community members have a targeted individual. That's in the amount of $36,000 for a full year. Currently, right now, in the account, there's roughly about $50,000 in that account. We could look at it as a potential, maybe don't fund it for a full year, maybe you try it for 6 months, maybe you try it for at least the next couple of months while we get through this potential little hiccup we have going on out in Washington. But really, it's bringing in Greenwood's Counseling, who does an unbelievable job with some of our most vulnerable population, and having a dedicated staff person 2 days a week dealing with our Winstead residents. Or any other ideas, but that was an idea that they proposed over to the town from Greenwood's Counseling. I did have a conversation with John, and obviously he's excited about the project, and I wanted to throw that out.
So quick question. You said that the NIPR funds brings in roughly $10,000 to $15,000 a quarter? Was that what you said?
Roughly a quarter, yes.
Okay. What does opioid bring in?
So
That varies big time.
it varies big time, because one may fall off where CVS lawsuit, you know, it's over 5 years and then Target kicks in. But roughly, you know, the size of our town isn't changing all that much. Roughly, you know, so far this year, 1 quarter, 16 grand as well. So when you look at it, opioid is probably, you know, a $75,000 a year revenue item. Keeping in mind, eventually it is going to fall off, so it's not something where, you know, you want to create a hole. You have to know that the fiscal cliff is coming, because eventually the money is going to dry.
So I have a question on that. That's got, the opioid funds have restricted use as well, I'm assuming. Any of the paid trainings we have to do for ambulance, for firefighters, for police, they have to be trained to respond to overdoses, this and that. Can we use any of that funding to cover the costs of those trainings?
You probably could. I want to look a little bit deeper into that. I can tell you, you know, some towns, larger communities, they funded SRO officers with opioid money. So, you know, we don't have that type of money, obviously,
Right.
but I think with opioid, if you can attach it some way to, you know, obviously prevent or to deal with, I think you're gonna be okay.
If we go to the 16 hours a week that you were referring to for Greenwoods,
Yep.
how long would the funds last to continue that?
Well, it's roughly $32,000 a year for 16 hours a week for 52 weeks. So you're in between, and this is in a separate fund. If you started it, say January 1st or December 1st, or however quickly you wanted to roll it out, you'd have it for roughly 1 year from the date of starting it.
Okay, so we'd have a year's worth of funds.
So in the program that's being proposed, so they would be here, but the more important part about it is they would be looking at people that get discharged from Charlotte Hungerford for some sort of, whatever reason they went there, was taken by ambulance or the police and whatnot, or somebody that was in the police department that had came out, or somebody that just came out of rehab that entered back into our community. And they would follow up with that rather than just somebody coming back into town and here they are, and then they get back into trouble again, and they get back into trouble again. She or, I think I know who would, you know, probably be the person that's always here. I think it would be important for a report to be made every month to this board about, without using names, assign like numbers or something to it, and report back and say, okay, this is how many people I found, because it's not about sitting in an office, it's about being out on the streets. You know, going up to where all the encampments are perhaps, and finding that, or the people that write on Facebook all the time about they're sleeping in their cars right now. For that person to go out and find these people and talk to them and see if they can't help. And then the board, and more importantly, Paul, gets the information that's necessary to look at, well, what is the extent of what we have here? What can we do about it? What other grants might we apply for? So I think, you know, we have the soup kitchen, the open door people that do a good job, and people go there. You know, we have Terry doing a great job upstairs with coordinating different people coming in here. But there's no, and Jen Kelly over at the senior center does a great job with the seniors and help that they need. But even, you know, my short time on the housing authority with Pete and the new director and everything that's happening, there are people that could always use this kind of somebody coming to them rather than just always coming here. So I would be completely in support of at least one of the days they requested, if not both. Because when I was teaching health and they released all that tobacco money, remember that big, huge 500 million or whatever amount of money that was released for tobacco money? It didn't come to the educational side of, you know, stop smoking and these are the effects. They kept a lot of money and it did other things other than going in for the actual, what it was created for. You know, we got the settlement to make sure that people weren't harmed by tobacco use going forward in the future. And it's the same thing with this opioid money. The settlement was for, so people don't go back out and, you know, abuse opioids. So putting it towards a service such as that, I think, is really important to do.
I agree. I think it sounds like a good use of these funds. Candy, maybe you should give us one last motion.
Oh, are you a motion ready?
Well,
Can we be, for this one project?
Or do you want to?
let me potentially throw out a suggestion, in that
We can empower Paul.
you can empower me, and what I would suggest is, I just did the math out. If you started it December 1st, or even, you know, November 1st, right? You're roughly at $2,700 a month. You fund it through June 30th. So you're looking at, you know, roughly 16,000, or, you know, if you wanted to try and get November in, I want to sit down with Greenwoods, create a contract. I think the point of having a monthly report is very good. Not only is it great for you guys to see where this money is being spent, but it helps us report this back to the state, which we need to do. It is a valid thing. So I think if you wanted to do it, empower the town manager to, you know, enter into a contract with Greenwood Counseling to any amount not to exceed $20,000 for services. And then I think that would allow me the ability to then create a contract with all of the items that were discussed tonight. But It's the
And
board's
then,
pleasure.
I mean, then you'd have to require in your contract the data,
Yep.
so that when you get to the budget season, that you will either include it or not include it based on what you find in the data.
Correct.
And you can
Yep.
make, you know, your judgments.
And we'll get a good feel, you know, obviously we gotta start, we're putting it together, the budget now. We're gonna get a good feel within the first couple of months. And, you know, obviously, we go right up until, you know, May, so, we can get a good handle on it. But that's just a recommendation from our office of up to $20,000.
So I'll make a motion that we empower the town manager to enter into a contract with Greenwoods Counseling using the opioid funds that are given to the town not to exceed $20,000 up until June 30th, when it be reevaluated.
Second.
Any other discussion? We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor? Unanimous? Moving on to item B, 25-39, refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenue.
I move that the Board of Selectmen authorize refunds recommended by the Collector of Revenue in the amount of $2,727.74.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Unanimous? On to item 11, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Anyone wish to speak?
Motion that was just made. I know there's a social worker in town. I don't know how many hours that, no more? No more. No more? Oh. Because I did speak with her once, I think a year or so ago. It's quite good now. So that makes me your motion was more important. I was wondering why we didn't use the social worker more than that. So that's it. I should clear that question.
Anyone else? Moving on to item 12, executive session, taking with us the town manager and Realtor David Satarana to discuss town-owned properties 52 White Street, 508 Main Street, 48 Bridge Street, and 19 Hill Street. Do you have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it is 8:10 PM.
And David is next door if you're wondering where David is.
All right, we're live.
We're back from executive session at 8:49 PM.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we authorize the town manager to enter into a contract on 508 Main Street.
I'll second that.
Do we need to vote? I need to finish that, yeah. Oh, you're gonna make me pronounce that now, right? Enter into contract with Dina Melito and Gerald Garofalo, DBA, and please don't, if I mess this up, Garamil Development Group LLC.
Perfect.
Thank you. Now you can second.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 14, Selectmen's comments and reports. Anyone have anything? All right, I've got a couple. Make sure everyone votes tomorrow, November 4th, Election Day. Can't complain about how things are going if you don't take an active part in voting. November 11th, Veterans Day at 11:11 a.m. at Forest View Cemetery. There's a veterans ceremony. It's held every year on November 11th at 11:11. And also on Veterans Day at Soldiers Monument from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Soldiers Monument will be open. They'll have the reading of the Declaration of, no, the Gettysburg Address, I think they read. And tours inside will be available from 2 to 4. Also, the board wishes best wishes to town manager's boss, Ms. Harrington. Anyone else have anything?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Unanimous.